And you're completely correct on that because what people always think is that you just always all of a sudden hop up one day and say, "Well, we're going to have a revolution. We're going to have a revolution."
Mhm.
No, the revolution only happens when a critical mass of people change the way that they think about their current social, political, and economic condition,
Mhm.
and then even after that, make the conscious step of deciding it's time to do something about it at all costs. France Fanon wrote about this, the cleansing nature of revolution as it goes through. This is one of the problems with the African American community until this day.
Mhm.
That because we never had a revolutionary narrative, we never had that moment where we fought for our freedom,
Mhm.
but rather were granted our freedom by another group's sacrifice and death. For that reason, we have these generations of lost and kind of passive
Mhm.
and sessile people because they don't have this historical narrative where they can go back to and say, well, my father fought in the Black Revolution to get us our freedom. Instead, it's like, well, maybe the government can give us some reparations because they already gave us our freedom. Maybe the white man can come and give it to me again because he gave us freedom. We need to have that cleansing moment of revolution. And that's what's missing in the mind state of people as they exist today.
Yes, I wholeheartedly agree. And as a result of, well, first let me say this: the lack of consciousness, or seemingly so, in today's hip hop, uh, is conscious and deliberate on the part of the machine. There was a merger in 1989, 1990, between an investment company, Wack and Hut, Corrections Corporations of America, and many top executives of the recording industry. And so they had these closed door meetings, and you had to sign non disclosure agreements in order to partake of these meetings. And when all was said and done, the plight of these meetings was to change the face of hip hop because they couldn't have conscious artists like a Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, Rakim, a KRS-One, Public Enemy, dropping songs that help to invoke thought and awaken people.
Mm-hmm.
Because hip hop, used in the right setting, used on the right platform, can be a tremendous social advantage, and we can share and resolve social messages. I mean, social issues by disseminating messages, at large, through music. But when this company, Corrections Corporations of America, began to merge with the music industry. First of all, you have to understand Corrections Corporations of America is the largest independent facilitator of privately owned penitentiaries in this country. And they've made deals with 48 states in this country to have a privately owned penitentiary erected in that respective state based on the state being able to maintain a 90% incarceration rate.
Mm-hmm.
So, if every day of your young, impressionable life, all you hear from your favorite artist, who's probably in your ear more hours a day than your parent and your teacher, and they are telling you that the blueprint to their success was to stand on the corner and sling packs of dope, coke, crack, kill niggas, and F hoes, that is called the power of suggestion. And our government is very well aware of how profoundly powerful, but how subtle the power of suggestion is, because they've placed strict regulations against tobacco manufacturers, prohibiting them from advertising the sale of tobacco on any advertising medium, because they know full well that a percentage of the population already smokes cigarettes. So if they were to advertise it, obviously a much larger percentage of the population would smoke cigarettes. So as that applies to hip hop, and your favorite artists are telling you that they got their record label startup money by standing on the corner and selling packs of crack, heroin, whatever. The most impressionable and influenced demographics of the population, they cling on every word. And despite whether or not we feel as though we're role models, we really are.
You know, it's interesting because I always get into this argument about hip hop and hip hop lyrics where they say, well, it doesn't matter. It's just art. You know, it's just people talking about their experiences. But my counter always is McDonald's spends hundreds of millions of dollars every year to reinforce this message into your mind that you need to eat chicken nuggets. And Coca-Cola spends millions of dollars every year to reinforce this idea into your mind. You need to be drinking sugar water. So when you have hip hop and rap music that's just saying stripper, car, shoot black folks sell drugs, stripper, car, shoot black folks sell drugs, then this is pumping into your mind 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Right.
And then you have these young people at the 30 Deep gangs, you have Bloods and Crips, and they're out here shooting people, selling drugs,
Yes.
stealing cars,
Right.
to go run around with strippers. You can't say the two aren't connected. I don't understand the idea that the two aren't connected.
That's called social farming. You know? And I'm sorry.
Oh no, go ahead.
Yeah, that's been the plight of the machine and the powers that be ever since they've granted us freedom. And you're absolutely right. You know, advertising agencies spend billions of dollars every year to make people believe that they need these products. Program directors of radio stations that are responsible for playing the music that we hear, that's why they're called program directors. They program the music that programs the listener. That's why we hear the music in a perpetual cycle. If you're hearing this same song 15, 20, 30, 40 times a day, in heavy, they call it heavy rotation when you hear a song like that many times, and you're creating a perception when you do that.
All right, we're going to talk more about this after the break. We have
Sure.
hip hop legend, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductee from Grandmaster Flash in the Furious Five, Raheim, in studio. And after this break, we're going to be joined by a young up-and-coming rapper, Paper Chase Ace, who's joined us in studio. News and Talk 1380 WAOK.